So anyone who knows me in real life will know that I'm a massive fan of aviation. I always have been, and from a very young age, my dream was actually to become a pilot. And I did have that dream sort of shot down on me as a very young child when I found that I was colorblind and that I was told I would never, be able to fly an airplane. So I found other ways to sort of itch that scratch as I was growing up, and they came in the form of flight simulators. So I started off on Flight Simulator 2000, and then I moved up to Flight Simulator 2004, then 2020, and then I went back to Flight Simulator X, and then I went to X-Plane 11, X-Plane 12, and now I mostly use Flight Simulator 24 and X-Plane 12. They are my two go-tos. But later on in life, I found out that I could, in fact, become a pilot. I could become a private pilot, get my license, and fly by myself or fly with family members. So, as I was just saying, throughout my whole life, I've been a massive advocate for flight simulators, and I absolutely love playing them. They are one of my favourite pastimes. It's one of my biggest hobbies, and I can't get enough of it. I really can't. So when I saw that DeadStick Bush Flight Simulator was being advertised on Steam about a year ago now, I was intrigued. I was extremely hyped. I did a bit of research on the game and I saw that it was in a bit of purgatory, that the game was probably going to be cancelled, and I was pretty gutted because from what I'd read about it, it was literally SnowRunner but with airplanes in the Alaskan bush. And that is exactly what I wanted out of a game. Because my ultimate goal eventually is to build myself a bush plane and to fly around New Zealand, because that's where I'm from, and see some of the scenic views that New Zealand has to offer, because there are many of them. And so I really wanted a game that was centered around a bush plane pilot, and this game captured everything I wanted in a simulator. Doing jobs, exploring the Alaskan bush, getting to customize your own plane, looking after it, maintaining it. It had realistic physics. It was portrayed that it would have pretty much anything you can think of that's in a normal flight simulator now. And it seemed to all be in vain because it didn't seem it was ever going to come out. And I did see a developer post about a month ago saying that they were making progress and that it had handed over to a new developer and that they were looking at releasing it sometime this year. And I was, again, my hype was up. I was extremely intrigued. So I did some more research on it and found out that I could apply for a playtest. And you best believe I did exactly that. And so, because of that, I received an email about 4 days ago saying that I had permission to play the early playtest for this, and I just couldn't turn it down. Went straight into my emails. I was at work. I went straight into my emails, added it to my Steam account, and decided to give it a go when I got home. And I've got a couple of hours in it now, and I just want to give my thoughts on what I think's done really well, what I think could be improved, and what I think they'll add in the future, um, as a bit of constructive criticism from someone that spends a lot of time in flight simulators as a whole. So I do want to say before I start, I was very hesitant to make this video just because some developers are quite strict on what they let people share and trying to keep stuff under wraps so that people don't get the wrong impression of something, or you know, they don't see a bug that is in a playtest but then think it's the final version, and then they might ridicule it and people might put people off buying it. I just want to go right off the bat and say I will be buying this game when it comes out. It is everything, as I said before, it is everything that I've wanted in a flight simulator, and I'm extremely happy to even have the chance to play it right now. So I'm going to say a massive thank you to the developers for letting me into this playtest. I know that a lot of people did get into it, but for me, it is something I've been waiting for quite a long time, and it's something that I'm extremely hyped to see release. So I just want to start off and just address the elephant in the room, because there's really only one problem that I'm actually having with this sim at the moment. And I call it a sim because it does a very good job of portraying realistic a realistic flight model realistic sounds, realistic reaction to turbulence, and things like that. And overall, the actual flying side of it is really well done. But yeah, so I just want to address my only real problem with the sim to start off with. It is a work in progress, so I know this is going to be fixed, and I'm not too worried about it because it's not that big of a deal at the moment. It's still playable, but it is a performance. The sim, for how it looks good. I'm not going to say it looks terrible. Like the terrain and everything, they've done a good job at the modeling. The graphics aren't bad. It looks good, but the game runs pretty poorly in the sense of I can get 60, 70, 80 FPS playing Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, which is a very, very demanding sim, and in this I only get between 25 and 50, and it fluctuates a lot. But again, work in progress. This is not a criticism, this is literally just me putting this out there so that hopefully when the full thing is released it is fixed, or at least a lot better. That's really my only problem here, is the fact that it runs at 30 FPS most of the time. I don't have the highest end PC, but as I say, I can run things that are a lot more demanding and they run a lot better and they look a lot better. But with that out of the way, let's get into pretty much all the positives, which is really everything. I'm not just going to sit here and glaze this sim, but they have done a lot right. And for the development hell that this thing has been through, they have done a superb job at actually showing what it's like to be one of these bush pilots and to show sort of what the outback of Alaska and everything does portray. So I'm yet to see any animals or anything. I haven't come across any bears or moose or anything yet. I have heard that they are going to be in the sim, so hopefully they are. But what I can tell you is it's got a great flight model. The airplanes fly exactly how they would in real life, or they feel pretty realistic. The turbulence model's great. Like the plane does bob around a bit, but not horrendously where you're sort of jittering around and your head's bobbing all the time. Like you can actually see the airplane bobbing in the air, but it actually looks like a realistic amount. The plane handles realistic. It sort of handles speed and everything realistically. The plane does behave. The slower you go, the more control input you need because of obviously slower airflow over the wings and over the control surfaces. Weight plays a big part in how your plane flies as well. Um, everything here in terms of the flight model is done well. I will say it is a bit touchy in the sense of your rudder pedals are quite, there's nothing, 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 and then boom, like, full left or full right rudder. I will say that was a bit problematic until I got used to it, but once I got used to it, it was pretty sweet, and I didn't really have any issues beyond that. It was just that initial sort of getting used to the fact that you have to, like, for example, a single prop engine on an aircraft will cause the plane to yaw to the left when you're taking off, and this even has that feature. A lot of flight sims don't even have that feature. Like a lot of major flight sims, like the earlier Microsoft flight simulators and everything, even they didn't have the feature of the aircraft yawing to the left when you accelerate because of the force or the vortices coming off the tips of the blades. So even that's sort of how detailed they've gone here with this flight model, and it was a bit to get used to at first because as soon as you apply full throttle and you try and full right rudder, it will still steer left for a minute and then sort of shoot you to the right, if that makes sense. And then when you take off, it's almost like it's loading the controls as the airplane gets airborne, and it will have like a bit of a spaz and bobble around, or it might do something here and there. But once you're actually airborne, it feels really good, and I think that they've done a superb job at this. And the sounds of everything vibrating while you're airborne as well. They've just done a primo job at that, so I've got to commend them for that too. That's probably not an easy thing to pull off. I know a lot of flight sim developers that develop add-ons and everything for flight simulators. They do have a hard time writing their own flight code, so I have to hand it to these developers. They have done a bloody good job at making this flight model. Okay, so next up, I want to talk about the sort of scaling of everything and just how you go about it. So you start the sim, and I've only played a couple of hours. I'm not very far into it yet, but I did want to make this video just because I think that it is deserved that this game is known about, because it has had a lot of people's heart and soul poured into it, and I can see that. I really can. So I kind of just want to put it out there so that people know about it more. And the next thing I want to talk about is how the scaling works. So you start off, you've got your own plane, and you're a private pilot. So you fly to an airport that's nearby to where you land in Alaska, and you sit your commercial license. And once you've sit your commercial license, you get a bit of a tutorial on how to fuel the plane, how to repair it, how to check everything, how to do like pre-flight inspections, and how to obtain jobs. You then pretty much are given free reign. You'll go out, you'll find jobs around the world on boards in the hangars, and you'll be text. There's a little phone that's in here as well. You'll get texts on it displaying different missions that you can do, and you take these missions, and once you do them, you'll get XP and money, which you can use to upgrade your plane or to sit more licenses, which for the purpose of this demo, there's actually only one license you can get, which is the commercial one, but you can see all the other ones that they've got that are a work in progress. I will say you can spend this money on repairing your plane, topping up the oil and everything like that, but I would love to see a feature where you can customize your own plane. I think I did see somewhere that they were going to add that in the future in the full release, but I know that they were looking at something to do with upgrading your own planes, and I'd love to see the ability to put big tires or bigger wings or different wingtips or different colors even, or different like different control configurations or different engine applications. I would love to see all that. That would be absolutely mint to see that sort of stuff added in. But for the time being, what they've got here in terms of the jobs and the money and everything is primo, and they've done a good job at that too. I know in the future they'll add more because there is a little bit. Yeah, I think you're allowed up to 3 jobs at the moment in this demo, and I've done 2 of the 3. So after I do another one, I'll probably get kicked out and have to start it again, or I'll just be able to fly around free roam and just sort of explore the map that they've created. I don't think it's completely finished yet, but there is a lot here. And that brings me on to my next point, which is the map. So the map is relatively big. I haven't explored bugger all of it yet, but I will do before the playtest is up. But it's huge. There's mountain ranges, there's little huts, there's little hunting airstrips that you can find lying around as well that you can go and land on. And I guess in the future they'll have like animals and stuff hanging around. You can go camping. You can land your plane pretty much anywhere because it is a bush plane, and you can do whatever you want. There's snowy mountains, there's towns you can find, there's all sorts. And again, I haven't explored enough of it to touch on it a lot yet, but from what I have seen already, it is pretty well done. And I know that they're only going to expand on it in the future. So I got to commend them for that too. They have created a world where it is enjoyable to fly around. I'm not going to say it's lively yet because there really isn't that much to do in it apart from the jobs they give you at the start and your first license and everything. But they have done a good job at giving you an enjoyable place to fly. And when the full version of this does release, I will do a full review on it. At the moment, this is kind of just a sort of thing of my thoughts and where I think it should go and what I think they've done well and what I think they should improve on. That's really all the point of this video is. I will do a full review when the sim actually releases later on, or once the playtest is up and I've got a few more hours under my belt. But for the time being, they've done a good job, and I think they should just keep up the good work and don't listen to the haters. I've seen a few hate comments about it now, but what they don't realise is, I mean, it's literally a playtest. Like it says at the start when you launch it, it's going to have bugs, it's going to have graphical issues, it's going to have performance problems. So I think people just are so quick to chomp at the bit to ridicule developers and things for games releasing like this or games being like this in a playtest when that's what it's there for. It's there so they can fine tune the game and add things that people want to see. So again, that's my 2 cents. When the game does release, or once I get a few more hours on this demo, I will do a full review. But for the time being, I think it's really good. I think it's enjoyable, and I think if you get the chance to, definitely definitely give it a go yourself. I've even got a few codes to allow people to jump in the playtest as well. So if you've made it this far in the video, drop a comment, say anything, whatever, and I will give you a code to jump in as well and enjoy it. I'm allowed to give up to a couple away. I can't remember the exact number, but I can give a couple away. So yeah, comment down below and I will give you a code to jump in and have some fun in Bush Flight Simulator as well. Thank you guys so much for watching and stay tuned for the full review. Stay safe and I will see you in the next video.